Okay guys, welcome back to our second day 4 video. This one's really short. It's just one quick problem just to introduce the concept, and tomorrow you guys will be doing your practice. So we are going to be talking about algebra and segments. So this week all of our topics have to do with lines, rays, and segments. And one important application is when we build in algebra problems. And one of the big focuses of geometry is to integrate algebra so that next year when you guys go on to Algebra 2, you've been thinking about it all year and it's still feeling fresh and it's not feeling rusty. So make sure to add a little header that this is Algebra and Segments. This is our day 4, or if you want to think about it as week 3, it's our week 3 topic is segments, lines, and rays. So the only example that we're going to do is this one, number 1. So the picture to the right says that segment AM, notice segment AM, remember segment is not continuous. It's just a chunk that has 2 endpoints. And then it says this symbol right here, this symbol means congruent, which is a fancy way of saying equal to. So generally when we talk about distances or measurements being equal, we use this congruent symbol, which is a little bit different than talking about like how long something is. And then it says it's congruent to segment MB. Now, when 2 things are congruent, we use these things called tick marks, right? Tick marks to show that they are congruent. And you can use 1 tick mark for each of them. Some people, depending on if they've used 1 tick mark, might use 2 tick marks or 3 tick marks for each. As long as you're consistent, you can use any amount, but they just have to match. So we are also told that AM is 3x plus 4 long, and MB is 2x plus 1 long. A really important tip is to always, if they give you extra information like this, to make sure you label on the diagram. Right, so in your notes, make sure to make a little note that anytime they give you some important information, you want to label it on the picture. That way you'll have a better idea of how to solve the problem. And our goal right now is to find x. So I'm going to make a little reminder, x equals blank. That's what I'm looking for. And to figure that out, we're going to use the fact that those 2 segments are congruent. And we're going to set up an algebraic equation. 3x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 1. Now my goal when I'm solving is to get all my x's on one side and all my numbers on the other. So I'm going to make a little note of my solving goal is to get all x's on one side, there we go, and all of my regular numbers on the other. So it looks like I've got 3 x's on the left side and 2 on the right side. So I'm going to try and get all my x's on the left side. So to do that, I have a positive 2x. I've got to subtract 2x on both sides to cancel that out. So my new equation is going to be 1x plus 4 is equal to 1. Now I want to get that 4 to join the 1. I want to get all my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. I'm going to get 1x, and you can just call that x if you like. I just kind of wrote the 1 to show you that we did 3 minus 2. So we now have x is equal to 1 minus 4, which is going to be a negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3. So we have now solved our problem. We got x is equal to negative 3. The one thing that's a little interesting is if you actually think about what this problem is signifying, if I were to plug that negative 3 back into here, I would have 2 times negative 3 plus 1, which is negative 6 plus 1, plus 1, which comes out to be negative 5. So once in a while, if we geometry teachers are not careful, we might give you an x value that actually says that your line should be a negative length. So always be on the lookout if we make a mistake like that. Technically, the answer shouldn't give you a negative length normally. Sometimes if you get 2 different answers for problems, one of them you can eliminate if it gives it a negative length. So it looks like this one probably, we geometry teachers just picked an equation that we knew solved properly, but we neglected to realize that it would say that our side length was negative. So we did all the correct steps. It looks like I just picked out an equation that wasn't quite so good. So thinking about that, if I was to adjust this problem, I would have probably said maybe I would have wanted this to be a minus 4. And if we change our work to make all of these numbers minus 4s, right? The one thing we would have to do differently is this was a -4, so it's 1x minus 4, and so we should have added 4 to both sides. That would have made x equal to 5. And notice, if x was equal to 5, if that had been my original equation, I would have had 2 times 5 plus 1, which would have given me a length of 11. So that actually seems to be a lot better of a problem. So always be on the lookout. Like if you think that I made a mistake in a problem and it comes out negative when it shouldn't for a length, always give me a quick heads up. So I'm going to leave that as what I wanted the original problem to be. So this is our final answer. And tomorrow in class, you guys will do a little bit of practice on this and practice on the homework assignment that you'll submit during class. I'll see you guys tomorrow.